Hello and welcome to Grow Your Yoga. My name is Todd McLaughlin. I'm here at Native Yoga Center in Juno Beach, Florida. Today, how to practice Janu Sirsasana B. Janu means knee, Sirsha means head, Janu Sirsasana, knee head posture, or commonly known as head to knee. And in Ashtanga Yoga, there's a variation called Janu Sirsasana B, which occurs in the primary series of Ashtanga Yoga. Janu Sirsasana A is where the classic that's utilized a lot in yoga classes all over the world. You bring your right heel in close to the body, you relax your right knee down toward the floor, you reach forward for your left foot. Inhale, lift the chin and chest, and exhale, breathe, fold over the leg. Janu Sirsasana B is one that is relatively unique to Ashtanga Yoga. And Janu Sirsasana B, what we do is we bring our leg in the A position, we lift our hips up, we come forward, sit on top of the heel bone right at the perineum. We have the right knee opened at about an 85-degree angle. Reach forward the left foot. Inhale, lift the chin to the chest. Exhale, breathe, fold, and bring your head down toward the knee and hold for a 5-breath count. Now, as a beginner, this pose is pretty intense because it does require full knee flexion ability and to be able to bear weight down onto the lateral edge of the ankle. In other words, the outside edge of the ankle. Your foot is going to be rotated a bit, and you're going to have a lot of pressure here. So as a beginner, a good way to start to approach this, if you have some knee challenges, is to utilize a block. And what you do is you sit on top of the block or blanket or any prop that you have that elevates you and repeat the Janu Sirsasana A motion, which is to bring your heel in close. You bring the heel against the block if it'll go there. Now, I realize because my knee touches the floor, it makes it look like it's easy to touch your knee to the floor. But if you are having challenges with knee pain and hip flexibility, you can wedge something underneath. Now, everything is lifted up. So, it begs the question, should I just repeat the previous pose or stick with the previous pose? Sometimes, yes. Actually, just working on the Janu Sirsasana A and getting this one to where it's comfortable. One of the main key ingredients with this is being able to bring your knee all the way down to the floor. Because the only way we'll really be able to balance with our body weight on our heel is if we have the full pressure going down and where I can lift my hands and keep my balance. So if you have knee pain or ankle pain, it is not practical. And so what you want to do is by sitting on a block, this will reduce the amount of pressure that's going on your knee, and it will bring a slight variation to the previous pose, which is Janu Sirsasana A. And so as an Ashtanga Yoga practitioner, every day you're practicing a little bit, and before you know it, your knee and your hip starts to loosen and your ankle, and it starts to open up. But as a classic yoga for beginners tutorial, I would recommend stick with the Janu Sirsasana A until you're able to bring this knee all the way down to the floor, in which case you can begin to experiment with this process of lifting the hips, sliding forward, and sitting down onto the heel. The heel placement, the perineum, is basically right at the bottom of the pelvic floor. All right, so now more information. What do I do with my foot? One of the big questions in Ashtanga is, should I have my foot pointed or should I have my foot in what's called a dorsiflex with supination? That's where your foot is angled forward and turned. There's two answers. I've come across multiple answers in this one because the one I personally like is the one where I try to align the toe and the foot forward down the line of the inside line of the leg, which puts the majority of the pressure across the lateral edge of the ankle bone. And this is called your lateral malleolus, that big bone on the outside edge of your ankle. It kind of spreads the pressure evenly across this area. The other one that we see is where we actually point the foot and sit on top of the heel, which actually makes for a bonier kind of pressure point to sit on. but it does create a nice little cradle with the foot for the left sit bone to sit down onto the surface of the arch of the foot. So this is one where I've had multiple people say that some people say they like to have the foot pointed. Some people like to have the dorsiflex of the ankle. It's one of those ones that you just got to feel it out and see which one works well for you. In relation to should I bend my knee or not on my front leg, this is one that I recommend keeping the leg straight. Now, in this case, I'm using my hands to be able to support. And so if in the beginning you just start testing the pressure, go really slow and just see how your knee feels in this really deep flexion position. Now, if you go back and watch one of my tutorials on half lotus, what we notice with half lotus is that we're trying to bring the foot in close, and then we want to make rotation. And there is rotation in the knee. In Janu Sirsasana B, we're more or less, there's not as much rotation. It's more of just a classic flexion, a really deep knee flexion pose. And there's a tiny bit of rotation, but if we're sitting up on the heel, it really does kind of keep that flexion position. So feel it out, experiment with either the dorsiflex or the point of the foot. Remember, you can experiment with the ability to sit on a block. Now, if you're sitting on a block and you pull the heel in and you reach for the foot, you're like, there's no way I can't reach the foot. You put your hand down onto your shins and very slowly start to lean forward. Something also I want to point out is that because I'm sitting on a block, that means that there's a gap between the back of my knee and the floor. This does make it a little bit easier to go into full extension with the thigh, because the way leverage works here is that you can really press down the knee. Hence, be careful of this when you start folding forward. Make sure you activate your quadricep muscle. When you squeeze your quadricep muscle, that causes all the ligaments and tendons on either side of your knee to kind of secure the knee into position. And you would never want to put a whole lot of weight on here because you don't want to hyperextend your knee at all. But if you engage your quad, the likelihood of you overextending is less. So apply gradual pressure, make sure everything feels good here, not excessive pressure on the back of your leg. If you're sitting on the heel, it's kind of the same thing. You're lifting up, so there is going to be a little bit of a gap underneath the back of your knee. So as you fold forward, just work on making sure you squeeze the quadricep muscle, really engage, and that's going to support and build these connections here on the sides of your knee. That about covers some tips on the Janu Sirsasana B pose. If you have any questions, remember you can ask them here. Check us out on our website, Native Yoga Center Online. And you can follow us at Native Yoga on all our social media channels. Remember to check out every Friday, I release a Native Yoga podcast, a new podcast with a professional in the field of yoga every single week. Some great discussions. You can learn a lot about yoga by listening. And I'm just so happy you're here. Have a great day. Every Thursday, I offer these tutorials live on your social media favorite platform. And I look forward to seeing you again. Remember, if you have any questions, send them my way, and I'll create a tutorial specific to your needs. Have a wonderful day.